Yes, today I'm going to talk about the story called The Dry Well. And it's about three girls. I went to the labor camp together. They all being sexually abused and suicide and jumping into the same dry well. So I want to talk about this story.
Great. Let's go ahead and start, Amy. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I think that was happening in 1971. I'll be in the third year of in this labor camp, and they think through the harsh labor, they think I'm gonna get a little better reformed, so they give me a little bit the incentive reward. Because every year in the counting, they have this conference called the Mao's Revolutionary Role Model Conference. And the people, how they study Mao's quotation book and how to become a Mao's soldier, that kind of thing, that kind of conference. Of course, I'm not qualified for this kind of category, role model, but they need people to interview those role models, and they write about their heroic stories, and publish their propaganda newspaper, and to promote the study Mao quotation book as a movement. And so they selected me from my village and to go to the counting propaganda department to interview a girl and role model. And she's about 17 years old. And what her story, heroic story is, and then when the village got fired, she went back to her house with a bamboo house with fire, and she immediately rescued Mao's poster, the image of Mao's poster first, and then put it in a safe place, then went back to save her grandma. But at that time, it's too late. Grandma
So
dead.
she actually saved Chairman Mao's post
Yeah.
first, and before
Yeah.
and after she saved Chairman Mao's post, she went to save her own mother,
Home grandma.
grandma.
Poor grandma. So, but grandma's dead because too late. Grandma couldn't walk.
Her grandma actually died.
Die, yeah. So, so that's her story. Make her role model because you always put a Mao, everything Mao first. So that's the story. Okay. So I had to interview her and then write the story. So that for the conference. So everybody make is a role model. Had to study, from her. So anyway, I talked to the girl, and then I just can't help. I asked her. I said, "You feel sad? You back? Grandma's dead?" She said, "Of course." And but they said that they told me, I'm good girl. I saved the Mao's image. So that's the story, okay? And then at the night, they put me in the inn. They goes in that counting seats in a mountain village. So the inn was there. It's kind of filthy. So my roommate was another girl from another village to interview other people. And so I was trying to sit on the bed and go to sleep. And she said, no. She was screaming. She said, you can't do that. I said, oh, full of lies. He said, you can't sleep. Said, otherwise, you're going to throw away all your clothes and you're going to shave your head and go to your hair. What are you going to do? I said, so I was so scared. I said, then what are we going to do? He said, let's go to the courtyard. So some bamboo chair there. Maybe we sleep in there. Good thing is it's not that cold the weather this season. And so we went out. And then I found and other people also in the courtyard. And the three older people, one man, two women, and they speak Shanghainese. I'm from Shanghai. So I listened to their dialogue. I was feel like they are my parents, so I wanted to talk to them. So when I asked them, I said, how do you guys end up here from Shanghai? He said, yeah, we're from Shanghai. and they were kind of sad. I said, what for? And they said that, I had to talk to you quietly because they told us not to talk about it. They said, we're coming to collect our daughter's ash. I said, daughter's ash? Or every one of us, you say each family only can one person. So one man is father and the other two are the mothers, right? And I said, what's happened to your daughter? They all die in the same time or what? He said, well, they told us, and they all suicide. I said, suicide? Why? And first they say it's accident. And they all falling into the same old dry well, not far away from here. Wow. So I kind of shocked. I said, really? They're falling into the same time? And then later on, they say that they suicide because they don't want to stay in the labor camp. They cannot handle it. And then they hate that this cultural revolution. So suicide in China at that time is anti-revolution. So use their action to protest. So it's anti-Mao, right? So that's what they said. So they were coming here, we just give us 3 cardboard boxes and their ash, and told us not to talk about and go home. So they were so sad. They talk about they all crying, and especially the man. And he told me, he said, that's my only daughter, and her mother already passed away a couple of years ago, and Red got beat her to death. And the father also is a teacher. I think is a professor, actually. Is teaching European history in the Shanghai Fudan University. And he told me, he said, talk about the dry well. He said, I told her the story when my daughter was young. There's the place called the Styria. Styria. Where's Styria? Styria is in Austria, I think. And then they have the old dry well, some 100 old days, like 100 virgins jumping into it, and to preserve their purity, their virginity. He said that probably that story made them to do this suicide. He said, but we not really believe why. Why had to do the same time, But then nobody would tell us. He said, if you got a chance, he said, you go to there, they told us the place, they don't let us to see the dry well and the place. And but then maybe you can go there, ask around, maybe people will tell you the truth, what really happened to those girls. So I said, yeah, I'm from Shanghai. I said, the reason I'm here staying this in is because they have this conference, role model conference, revolutionary role model conference. So they want me to write about the story about a girl with saving Mao's image and become a hero. And I said, but when you tell me that, I really, it's not just curious. I just really feel like I wanted to find out what's going on. So they gave me the address. They say, if you found out, just write it to us. Right. So I think later, I still had to write those role model stories. So I did. And then I get some little spare time. So I decided to go to the dry well to find out, to talk to people to find out. I don't know. I just feel like I make, myself to put this my conscience, and put this heavy cross in my own heart. So I just carry this cross, and I went to the dry well. And I talked to I looking for the people I can talk to. Somehow in that village used to have a dozen students just like me stay there, but they all gone because they moved since the things happen, and 3 go dead. So they move everybody out. There's nobody there, and only the villager. And villager people, and they're very, I think, generally speaking, they're very nice, honest people. So I think, I had to talk to them. So I wait, I look around, and I saw a little girl come out same as my age. So I asked her about this well. I said, did you know that they have a three-girl child? She said, yes, I know that. And he said, I said, how did they find out? He said, the wild dog found. He said, it was horrible, unspeakable. And it's three-girl body and also fetus. I said, what? He said, they were pregnant. I said, really? I was so shocked. I said, you the only one? Everybody saw they pulled those body out, I said, wow, because they never tell their parents, anybody. And so I said, do you know what's happened to them? Who did that to them? And they said, no, I don't know. But they said that the other village up the mountain, and they have a guy working in this county government. It's like a doorman or gatekeeper / iron boy. He said that he probably know about that. Maybe, I said, how I can meet him? He said, well, maybe after 6 o'clock at the night, you come in, and then I'm going to take you there and then meet him, and maybe he can tell you something. So, well, I think I'm going to go. I wanted to find out. I talk about, I know it's heavy. I know, but this cross in my heart, I had to carry it. So at the night, and I asked the girl, my roommate, and go with me, and she said, no, I don't want to go. He said that, this is too dangerous, and to find out why you're so curious about it. I said, well, I promised their parents, they're so sad, I said, think about that. If our parents, and we just gone like that, how do they feel? And send us out, we are young and beautiful, alive, and to come back just for the cardboard box of the ash. What do you think about that, right? So I had to find out what happened to them. So I went by myself. I found the boy, and he told me, say that, I will tell you something, but you never tell anybody. Otherwise, they're going to kill me. I'm going to lose my job. I said, I know that. I'm not going to tell anybody. And so he told me one day, he was an iron boy. He was go around the office everywhere, in the government building. And one day he said that he would heard some noise from that top leader, which that time the government was all controlled by People's Liberation Army. The Chinese Liberation Army controlled all the local governments. So that guy was the head of that. So he said when he heard outside his office has some noise and like a fighting or something. So he just peeked in. He saw that somebody broke in or something, somebody attacking somebody. Actually, he saw that Liberation Army officers was raping the girl. I said, what about the other two girls? He said, other two girls, he said, that lay down. He said, I was so scared, I just ran away. I didn't tell anybody. But I saw, before they disappeared, I saw they were together. They were crying, talked something about it, So that's the story. And so I get a picture out. I think probably from, I say at the time, I asked about time from when he saw the first time and then when the time they died. It's about 5 or 6 months like that. So they probably pregnant, and they probably been raped, and they get pregnant, and so they decided to get suicide and jump into the well. So I think that's nobody else would tell, and nobody would know about it. So I just wanted to write it. I cannot write a letter to the parents because they were, every letter I received from my father, we, make the agreement. He's going to continue to write it to me every Thursday, off Thursday. So every Thursday, right, doesn't matter I receive or not. So that way I can continue to receive the letter. And then he told me I had to, every letter, every page, you have started long Mao's quotation. Talk about Mao, talk about this, that. So they were saying they will read it, but if they saw Mao's quotation, they just let it go, you know. So every first page letter, he wrote it to me, all Mao's quotations. Anyway, so I know if I send a letter out, they will open it. I will never get it to anywhere. And then that will be I'm being arrested, right? So I say, I'm going to write a story. And one of these days, if I can find the people I can trust, and they can carry my story to the big city, Kunming, which was the capital of the Yunnan province. And so they can mail it to Shanghai, and they could get to their parents. So that's my plan. So what happened later and how they discovered the story I wrote and hiding in my pillowcase, I will talk about next week. And the reason I bring this story out is a couple of days ago, and I got lots of emails and people call me, my friend, and my lifetime friend, I trust them very much, talk about and Hunter Biden, the video. Not just that we're talking about the laptop, but the pictures, also the video, how the Chinese CCP government, and they taped everything. And then have something was totally despicable. And he not just, I'm not interested in his sex life or private life or anything. He was raping those underage girls in China. And not just raping, it's torture. And just despicable videos. They talk about it, tell me that. And so that's why, you know, just maybe I don't think, I'm not a child hunter in this radio talk show, you know, but I just wanted to, how I emotionally related it to that. 50 years ago, Communist Party office of CCP, and they raping the girl and kill those girls, and now, same right now, I think 50 years passed by. This abuser died a long time ago, and the victim of died a long time ago. Their parents probably the same as my parents passed away a long time ago, right? But right now, the abuser and things happen in China, and CCP government taped as a blackmailing is the son of our vice president. And maybe Hunter is I don't care, we're not trying to elect Hunter, you know, but he's a bad guy of the cartel. But who is chief of this cartel? Who controls this cartel? It's Biden. So wake up. You think we can select the people like this and as our president, our leader of this free world? That's just my opinion, okay? I don't want to force anybody to accept or agree with me, right? But just a thought.